I mean, come on, man, you know the thing. Who else is a more patriotic American than these fine folks? I mean, other than maybe Colonel Sanders because his chicken is tinger flicking good. Or finger sticking good. I mean, come on, man, you know the thing. They're definitely better than that Bernie Sanders guy. Can you believe I beat that guy in an election? I am Joe Biden, Bo Jiden. As the President of America, I just want to say Jim Jar are cool cats. I am Joe Biden, Bo Jiden. I mean, come on, man, you know the thing. Anyways, I gotta go. I have to go to deliver some tanks or something to that President Zelensky guy. Peace out, hooliganies.
Good afternoon, everybody, or the hooliganies. What is up, everyone? It is Monday, and I think I'm still trying to recover after this weekend, but I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. How are you today, Mr. Willie Braggs?
Oh, not bad. I was just telling you before the show, I am fully awake. Had plenty of adequate sleep before coming up here. 30 minutes before, took a quick shower, all refreshed.
That's right. I see you dyed your hair this weekend. So tell me about that.
Well, I just got tired of that gray. It was just kind of like, I'm not 64 years old, but I felt 64 looking at myself in the mirror. I was like, okay, and I was like, years ago when I used to dye my hair all the time, I looked like I was in my 20s. I don't look like I'm in my 20s, but at least I look like I'm in my maybe mid to late 30s. So I'll go with that.
That's right. I dig it. It's awesome.
Thanks.
Everybody's making changes this weekend. Y'all are making me want to re-dye my hair again because the blonde is not where I want it. So maybe I might just dye my hair because you guys are all doing it.
It looks great. It's great.
It's spring though. So of course everybody wants to make a change. That's what happens. It's like that spring clean. You even do it with yourself. So
yeah, I kind of need a revamped image of myself too occasionally. So
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So we got Warren up in the chat. What's up, Warren? And Brandy and Les Bones. Les Bones says, "What's up, gamers?" Do you ever play any video games?
I have very drunk and very high years and years ago. I mean, it's not what I do, but if I'm with some people, they will teach me how to do it. But I don't do it as a general rule. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Okay. I don't do a general rule. Yeah.
Okay. We love gaming around here. Yeah. We love to game. We just did some gaming a couple of days ago where we've got this new game that we're playing, and it's a game that's pretty much based off of like Norse mythology, all the Vikings and all of that. And just yesterday when Warren had a show, his Mundus Ultra show, they were talking about, just really quickly, they were talking about the Norse mythology and the tree of life and stuff. And I was letting Les Bones know, like, hey, that big ass tree that you see in the sky, like that's this tree that they're talking about in the show right now. And so anyway, we were playing the other day and we finally got like over the first big hump of the game. And it was really cool to be able to like, because you're like gathering up things and you're gathering materials and you're making yourself stronger and making like a home and making yourself better clothing. So you got better armor to go up against this big, gigantic like reindeer. and he's one of the gods. I can't think of the name right now because their names are like so wild. But we ended up like doing all of it and getting it all together, and we ended up beating the thing, and it was really, really cool. So we love gaming around here. To me, I love gaming, even if it's just doing something like that, like beating the first little boss, because I don't do too much. I sit at home a lot all day long. So to me, it's like I've accomplished something, even
Mhm.
if it's minuscule. So that's why I like it. I like to game because it makes me feel accomplished.
Yeah, as I said, I just never got around to doing it as much. But if I'm at somebody's house and it's been years, but I mean, I have done it, but I don't even remember what game it was. It was about 20 years ago. That's the last time I did it, but I don't remember what game it was. I was too
Dang.
high to remember.
Dang. You know, you can sit at home and hang out with your friends at your own home through like digitally hang out with your friends now, right? Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
guess that is what we do online anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's pretty much what we're doing now, but we're playing a video game too. Like it's awesome. Because I remember 20 years ago, I was playing like Halo with the peeps, but it was like we would get the Xbox set up in the living room, and all four of us, four of us would play sharing the same screen. But now you can just sit at home with your own screen. Everybody sits at home with their own screen, and y'all can play a game together. And it's really, really fun. There's all different kinds of games that you can do nowadays. It's not just like fighting, like the Valheim game we're playing right now. It's super role playing, you know, has the theme of the Norse mythology. Or we've played Grounded. We've actually beat that game together. Me, Les Bones, Shake and Bacon, and Warren have beat Grounded together, which Grounded is a game based off of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, where you're stuck in a backyard and you're about the size of an ant, and you've got to go through the entire yard and beat bosses and do the storyline to make yourself big at the end. So it's just there's a lot. It's a lot more fun nowadays than it used to be, because it used to be you have to be in the same room with the people to be able to play with them. Now you can be thousands of miles away and be able to beat a game with people. So that's what I love. I love that. Like knowing that, like Les Bones and them are all on the East Coast, and then we even have Shake and Bacon, who's Canadian, and then we have me, who's Californian, and we beat an entire game together, but we're so far away from each other. I love that. I love that about these games.
It's the great North American continental gathering.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It is. And it really teaches you, like, I don't want to say like communism, but like living in a commune. You really, especially with these role playing games where you have to kind of just figure things out on your own and build your own base there. So that way you've got safety throughout all the elements on the outside. You really kind of figure out who you could become in real life if you were to have a commune. Like if there was an apocalypse, who would you become and what would you do? And what comes naturally to you. You can really figure other people out too. Like I'm the caretaker. I'm always, if somebody comes into a game, I always make sure they have the basic necessities of armor, weapons, food, everything like that. Like, so I know now, like if there was an apocalypse and we all live in a commune, I would be the caretaker, Or we've got Warren, who's he's kind of he's not our battler, but he definitely is a caretaker as well. Then we've got Les Bones and Shake and Bacon, who are pretty much like our warriors. Like they're the warrior. Shake and Bacon's kind of the fearless warrior. Les Bones is more of the clumsy warrior, which is fun. So it's just cool to kind of like you kind of start to figure out what people are or what people could be in a commune if you were in that situation in these types of games. And it's a lot of fun. It's really fun. Kind of learning communism a little bit. It's cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If I'm at somebody's house again and somebody invites me, I'll think about that and kind of look into doing that.
Right.
And then
right.
I will comment on it here on this show when that happens.
I know we got to get you into some games. See, even Warren says I'm a lover, not a fighter. Yeah, he's kind of like me. We're like the caretakers. He always makes sure there's food on on the rack for us to eat, or we've got enough like necessity items to build, like building items and stuff. He's really good at that. But in a fight, he'll run. It's so funny. So you just imagine like being out in the wilderness with Warren, and like we're trying to hunt for our next meal, and there's like this giant bear in front of us, and I'm just like, yup, me and Shaken are like, yeah, we've got to kill it. Like, that's our food. And we look back and Warren's like a half a mile down the road. Like, I'll see y'all later.
If I see a bear, I'm gonna be running like hell myself.
No way. Well, you got to imagine, like, put yourself in that situation. Like, it's an apocalypse. You guys are living in a commune and it's time to eat. And you're out with your group hunting. And that's the first thing you see is a bear. What's your first instinct going to do? You're hungry. Your community is hungry. You need food. Of course, fuck being scared. You got to kill that thing. And plus, having Shaken Bacon as a fearless, like, warrior, Shaken Bacon will go after that. Have you ever seen that old video? It's like a gaming video, and he does like the Leroy Jenkins thing where like he just kind of goes in without telling anybody and just starts battling and gets everybody killed. That's Shaken Bacon. Shaken will just go in there and be like, yeah, let's go, before even like talking with anyone. He's just ready to go. So I'm kind of like, whenever I'm in the games with Shaken Bacon, I want to go fight and get things done, but I'm a little timid about doing like the exploring part. So with Shaken Bacon, he kind of gets rid of a lot of that for me. So I figure if in apocalypse times and there was a bear in front of us, Shaken Bacon would already be halfway going for the bear. So me and Les Bones would be like, all right, well, we got to go fight it. Let's go kill this bear. We've got to go have food for our community. But Warren would be like a half a mile backwards. Like, I'll see y'all back at the house.
Well, maybe he's not running away. Maybe he has some kind of a backup plan or something. Or
No. His backup plan is to live. He doesn't want to hurt his pretty face.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. He did shave the beard off. So
That's right. Oh, it's a joke, but yeah, no, yeah. Or
I guess the beard would come back in that
too.
Post-apocalyptic world. The beard probably would come back, unless there's
to keep himself warm, for sure.
Yeah.
He would have to during the wintertime and stuff. Yeah. He has digital. He said, I have digital bladder issues. Yeah, Les Bones, you're also a builder, but Les Bones is a good builder too. So yeah, I guess in an apocalypse scenario, Les Bones would probably be building us all of our little huts and stuff for us to live in. He would build it and then I would decorate it, because that's what I do. And I'll build, like, so when we're playing games like that, like Grounded, I'll build this house or this base or whatever, and then Les Bones will see one wall that's like slightly off, just off one inch or something, just one step. And so he'll go and rebuild the whole thing, make it perfect, add like, roofs and all kinds of stuff. And then I'm like, all right, this is cool. So I just start decorating the shit out of it for him. So he's kind of the builder and I'm like the interior decorator.
Right. Well, any name for this commune that y'all have?
No, not yet. Probably friend zone, because that's been really funny with us, is using the word friend zone. I don't know what else. I don't even know. No idea what the commune would be called. Probably hooligans, most likely, because that's what we are.
I'll go with that. That's a positive term. We'll go with that.
That's right. We got to get you into some gaming, Willie. I know you work a lot too. That's what sucks, is working.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm sure there's something out there that would just kind of be like, let me try this. So maybe I'll look into it.
I know, like, what kind of games do you like? Is there like a genre that you do enjoy, like shooter, like Call of Duty kind of stuff? Or do you like the building a community with like battling in between? Is there something that you like?
You know what? I just thought about that a couple of years ago when I was like heavy and into watching. I like overindulging myself with Doctor Who. There were some Doctor Who video games out there, and maybe I'll look into that to see what's available.
Okay, you should. So, like, what you don't have like a certain type that you like?
Well, I mean, I'm guessing anything that's going to be a challenge. I guess maybe some kind of a battling game. I'm guessing, which is weird because I'm anti-war, but this is. Kind of a,
you're not battling anything real, right? They're like fantasy.
Yeah. And of course, I'm not going to be one of those folks that they claim that, oh, you're playing video games, it's costing you to go and do all these crazy things in real life. I wish people would stop thinking that, because that's not happening either. Not for the average person anyway.
Right. Yeah. There usually is some kind of thing it's already in the head for people to kind of put that into real life. But yeah, no, I understand. I think that's a conservative talking point since I was a child. Video games cause violence. So I'm like, well, then, then tell all the reindeer to be careful, because that's all I've been battling recently is a reindeer. So reindeer better watch out, because I'm coming for you.
There you go. Yeah.
That's what's so crazy is like they automatically think that every game is just shoot 'em up, shoot 'em up, shoot 'em up. And it's just like, no, there's so many really fun, crazy games out there. Survival games that are just a blast.
Now, what I am amazed about how some of it do seem to emulate real life. Now that is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what's funny is I know that Call of Duty is supposed to be like a propaganda arm for the military, but if you've recently, I know a lot of people don't play Call of Duty mobile, but they have Call of Duty mobile where you can play it on your phone, and it's player versus player. It's like 100 people drop on a map, and the last person that wins or that's alive is the winner. Kind of like Fortnite, how it's all one map kind of thing. Anyway, usually they have, it's very militaristic, very realistic looking, but their recent update, it's very like city Japanese style, very neon signs, new weapons, so it seems even like some of the Call of Duty like militaristic stuff is turning more into the fantasy genre of things.
Oh, okay. You mean more like correct me if I'm wrong, more like what it sounds more like what they call the cyberpunk sort of scenery. Yep. Or something like that.
Yep, because Fortnite's doing the same thing too. Fortnite's new update about 2 weeks ago has that very Japanese style, because it does have like the city with, the neon signs, that cyberpunk look, but then on the outskirts of this main city in Fortnite, it's got the, the bamboo and the Japanese style houses and stuff. So it is the very anime Japanese style stuff. But yeah, even Call of Duty mobile app, the mobile game is very, yeah, you're right, like very cyberpunk now. So it seems like it's keeping that militaristic look, but it's more forming towards the futuristic kind of stuff, which is kind of interesting.
Okay, all right. I'm going to, as I said, I'm going to start looking at it and everything. It'll keep me. I need to find ways to keep myself younger. So
that's right. That's right. It's a good escapism. I'll tell you that. We're in 2023 right now, and I notice whenever wars and are really like intense, or our government is really against the people, and the people, like, we're dealing with, inflation or a depression or a recession or things like that, people really tend to go for a lot of escapism, and video games are really good at that. And plus it's a good place to make friends as well too, because we're in 2023. It's hard to really kind of make friends that are around you, because there's so much dividing problems nowadays. So you find your little crew, and you get to have friends that you hang out with a lot. Even though you're doing stuff in a video game, you still get to hang out with your friends, and it's nice to just have that little community of somebody to talk to, even though it's thousands of miles away and it's digital, but it's still something. It's better than nothing. For sure.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
Yeah. We Need Critical Thinking says you've been replaced by Back in Time Willie because of your hair.
Yeah,
that's right.
It used to be naturally black a long time ago. So
that's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
All right. So should we get started on some news?
Yeah. I think we should go and do that. Yeah, sure.
All right. Let's watch some TikToks. This weekend was just a flurry of just tornadoes, constant everywhere. Just I saw some in Iowa. I think they were saying Mississippi, Arkansas, just everywhere in like the middle section of America had oh no. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. I have so many TikTok videos to show that I'm like trying to pull them all up right now, and I'm losing count of which one's which. Okay. So there was so many of them, and so many people on TikTok had so many videos. Jesus. Okay, cool. So here's some videos. I'm sorry. I wanted to get these ready and prepared, but Of course, I'm never going to get this stuff prepared. Expecting more. See, I was going to ask you, Brandy, how you were doing out there, because I know that you live out in Arkansas as well. So I've been keeping my eye on this just to see. But man, okay, so some of these videos that these people like actually are going through at these places, it's insane. All right, here, let's watch one of these. Can I make this bigger? Yeah. Okay. So this guy wants you to see this area right here because it's like all the trees and stuff. He like kind of shows you a pan of what happens, and then the tornado is gonna go through, and then you kind of see afterwards. I'm gonna skip it through a little bit because it does take a little bit of time before it gets to the tornado, but I do want you guys to see at least what it looked like before the tornado hit, like all the trees there.
I'm seeing it up here. Dude, yep, go.
And how quick it is how you don't see it, like how you don't see the tornado, and then bam, it's there.
Hey.
Did you see that? So right here, really quick, if you look really quickly, you'll see that little shed that was right there when he was outside just rolled by right here. There it goes.
Oh, hell. Okay.
Yeah.
I did see it that time. Oh, my.
Yep. It's a little hard to see on this, but it goes through.
Wow. You there, love?
There's a guy right here holding himself up in the back corner. All of a sudden, there's a car in front.
Look at this. Oh my gosh.
And there it is now.
Oh, my.
Right? Looks like a war zone now.
That's what I was about to say. It looked like it. That's exactly what it looks like.
Right.
Wow.
That is insane. And that car wasn't there right in front of the door before either.
You know, I only seen one tornado once in eastern North Carolina. And I mean, it was a long time ago. And I don't think it did that much damage.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
we don't get
so much damage it's doing.
Yeah, we don't really get it in our area of the country.
Yeah, no, we don't either. We don't get tornadoes. So one of the tornadoes that was on the ground in Iowa, somebody got a really, really good picture. This is very apocalyptic. If you've ever seen the movie Twister, once you see this, you're going to have that same feeling again. Like, oh my gosh, it feels like that movie right here. Check this out. Super crazy looking, right? It just it reminded me of the movie Twister.
Oh man.
I hope they have a basement.
I'm going in.
Yeah, right. And that's what I said too. Oh man. Okay. So the next one I have. So these guys were driving around in the neighborhood, didn't realize the tornado was this close to them. And apparently a house got lifted and hit their car. So here's the video for this. It's crazy. The inside of the car looks like it's the outside of the car. There's just mud and twigs and all kinds of stuff. It's nuts.
Ooh.
We were just involved in a pretty major accident.
It's fucking cold.
You can't see it, but across the street there was a house. The house came up and hit the side of the Avenger.
That was definitely a fucking tornado.
And shoved us into a field. We've got a couple cuts and scrapes, but we're pretty well good.
So, I mean, thank goodness these guys are okay. But Jesus, can you imagine just driving and all of a sudden you see a house hit you and then throws you into a field? That's...
I could only imagine that. Wow.
And did you see the inside of the car? I mean, the inside of the car looked like the outside of the car. It was absolutely insane. Hold on really quick. Okay, I'm going to bring up, this is the one that I was telling you about this morning. So these people were in a store while the tornado hit. And you can actually see them getting pulled outside when the tornado got a little close to them. So here's the beginning of it, of their store.
I was listening to it the whole way up.
So about right here is where it starts to pick up.
Oh my God.
Bad idea to do that.
Nowhere near glass.
So if you didn't see it right there when the glass broke, that about right there, you could see them on the ground trying to scoot themselves back into the store after it got crashed out. Because you can, if you really closely pay attention, you can see there, like this guy, you could see the ground here. You could see that guy's hands. He's like scooting himself, trying to get back into the store. So he got literally pulled out of the store. I mean, you don't ever hold a door, especially a glass door closed during a tornado.
I hope he's fine. I hope he didn't get bad.
No. He was fine. They got a little bit of cuts and scrapes and stuff. I think the video a little bit longer. The longer video shows. I think he got cut on the head or something. He was bleeding a little bit. But these guys were all fine. Like Brandy says, this stuff could have been so much worse, like way worse. It's just, I think over 30 people have died this weekend because of this. People out here in California do not get taught about tornadoes in school, Brandy. No. So here's one of the aftermath. I think this is the last video I have for this. This is one of the aftermaths in Little Rock, Arkansas.
This is my aunt's house, guys, on the corner of Breckenridge and Shackelford. And I can see for a fucking mile, like this whole neighborhood.
It looks, this is what I wanted to show, was right here, like all of this in the background, like this entire neighborhood, every one of those houses are just destroyed. It almost looks as if like a tsunami hit the place. It has that same feel.
It's destroyed. Fuck.
Crazy, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's house, guys, on the corner of Breckenridge and Shackelford.
Yeah, all of that out there is just gone. All of that houses out there, just trashed, done for, all of it. And all of that was just this weekend alone. Crazy.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't live in tornado country. I mean, it's bad enough. Thankfully live enough inland in North Carolina where the hurricanes are not that bad, although we do get hit occasionally. Maybe once or twice a decade, we may get hit with a pretty bad one, but it's not so terrible.
Yeah, we definitely don't get anything out here in California for sure, but it's still like a natural disaster is a natural disaster, and it just sucks to see all those people are going to have to restart. You know, I believe Arkansas has what's her name as their governor?
Huckabee Sanders.
Huckabee Sanders, yeah. And from what I heard, she was saying that she wasn't going to take any federal help from the government, and then the very next day she was asking for help. Yeah. Well, I guess the very next day she did ask for the help, for the federal help, because the tornadoes just got 10 times worse just over the weekend alone. So
Yeah, but when they do
is
that, they do that to make a culture war statement. Even in economic ruins, they try to make a culture war statement out of it.
they do, and that's
Yeah.
what they're trying to do. We don't need no government help. We don't need it. We can do it. We can rebuild. All the while, the people there are just suffering. So
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm gonna tell you one thing is you would think. Well, I live in Central North Carolina, and I'm gonna tell you, you hardly will find homes around here with basements. I mean, um, maybe when you go a little further west, you will find houses with basements, a little more mainstream. But when you go up north, or depending on what parts of the country, and that is probably the best, defense, or best protection, shall I say, against something like a hurricane or a tornado or something along those lines. So you would think that people would actually, you would think there'd be more houses that would have that at their disposal. You think they would build more houses like that, even in flatland areas, for that reason.
Right. Well, that's the thing too, is that you would expect at least the government to help rebuild what people have lost in a natural disaster. Isn't that what, even if their government is not supposed to be for anything else, just to, help the people, that's something that is beyond somebody's control, that they've just lost everything. And the government should at least help reimburse them to get them back to where they were before this time.
Yeah, even Governor DeSantis. I'm sorry, what were you saying? I didn't mean
No,
to
go
interrupt.
ahead. No, you're good.
I would just say even Governor DeSantis did reach out for federal help with their last hurricane in Florida, and I think he did that because he needed to appeal to normies down the road. So he needed to appear moderate in certain areas. So I think it was definitely calculated when he decided to do that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Brandy says we don't have basements or sirens. Hey, Cape Socialist, good to see you. We need critical thinking. Good to see you. Desert Mantis, good to see you. He says his place in Oklahoma had a subsurface tornado shelter next to the driveway. Definitely FEMA should be coming and helping, but
I would think there'd be basements in Arkansas. I would think so, because, as I said, the further west you go in North Carolina, you start to see homes with basements. Of course, because there's a lot of. I'm in the area where it's the border of the inlands meets the Piedmont area, and then so the elevation starts to rise in North Carolina in the area I'm at. And by the time you're in the Winston-Salem area, is where where it starts to get a little bit more mountainous, and so you start to see more homes with basements, in that area of the state.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Warren says root cellars maybe, but not basements. Same thing, I guess. I don't know the difference between any of those. I'm from California. Out here, if we have a basement in the mountains, we call it a buildup. It's called a buildup. I don't know why.
I did not know that, actually. So
yeah, it's because it's a basement, but it's not under like the ground under the house. It's like from the ground up. So you build because the ground, all the ground up here are on the side of mountains. So you kind of have to make a house straight. So you've got this, like I'm making right now, this triangle shaped basement under the house. And that's what's called the buildup, because it builds the house up to a flat area. So that way you can build, the rest of the house.
Oh, okay. All right. You learn something new every day.
Concrete down there or anything. It's like literally just straight up like the dirt, the ground down there, and just some walls built up around it to bring our bottom of our house flat.
Oh, okay. I did. All right. Build up. Okay.
A build up. Yeah. So we don't have root cellars or basements around here. And even when I lived in the city in California, you don't have basements. Like there's no such thing as a basement in California. So there's a garage. We got a garage, but no basements.
No basements. Wow.
No basements. No. Let's see. We go to master bath, center of the house. Oh, to your master bath. Oh, okay. Damn, that's scary. Could you imagine a tornado going by and you're just chilling in your bathtub? Ugh. Ugh.
Actually, that's just, one of the safest places to be. Also, from a nuclear attack. Here, they talked about a scenario how to survive a nuclear attack, and they said if the people has the best chance it are people who actually they end up going inside their house is so much in the center of their house as much as possible, staying there as much as possible, like staying in the bathroom or some middle room inside of a house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, well, we need critical thinking, said a well-stocked wine cellar. That's what I want to know. Like, if you have a basement that you know is safe and you're in Tornado Alley and you know a tornado warning is there during, like, for your neighborhood, do you, like, is there, like, people that gather people into the basement? Y'all just have, like, a party in the basement for, like, the whole night or something until the tornadoes are over. That'd be really cool. I would have like a bar down in my basement and just invite the neighbors and we just make like a 24-hour party of it. But you'd only be able to drink White Russians. That's it. Only drink White Russians at my bar. That's it.
Well, I tell you, it's not a short supply of wine. I have it. I don't really drink like I used to, but I always buy wine just in case I get invited to a party or whatever. I don't like to go empty-handed. So if somebody comes here for some disaster and they have to stay at the house, they're they'll
You're like, I got enough wine.
yeah, it will definitely be a party.
That's right. That's right. You say that until you're stuck in your house for 2 weeks. That shit sucks. There is no fun being stuck in your home. I'm telling you.
No, after what you went through,
Yeah. And now these people in Arkansas, like, they don't even have a house to be stuck in. Like, they're stuck on the streets for however long it takes them to get a new place. That's gotta suck. Ugh, I couldn't imagine. Lula, good to see you. What is up? Thank you for stopping by. All right. Let's get on to the next thing. Probably going to bring up two things at once right now because I'm just seeing this myself. This is so freaking funny. Okay, so side point. Well, okay, so I want to talk about this really quick. So there's a guy, a Ukrainian, I guess. His name is Danny something Mozeked Deck. I don't know what the fuck his name is. I don't know. I can't pronounce it. Died this weekend near Bakhmut. He was a citizen of Belarus. He was heavily wounded twice, but always returned to the front lines. These guys are calling this guy a hero, a Ukrainian hero. Just really side note, you guys are seeing like the Doge thing, right? Because that shit's wild. I haven't seen it yet. I've been hearing about it this morning, but I have not seen that yet. And that shit's crazy. Like, they're literally legit is like the Doge symbol instead of the Twitter symbol on Twitter. That's wild.
Oh, you know what? I just gone on Twitter just for a second, and oh my goodness,
Right?
Yeah, it's really weird.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
it's nuts. It's the Doge symbol now. It's wild. Anyway, so I don't know who this guy is that's putting up this tweet, and I'm just finding out who this guy is. So apparently this guy about 10 years ago or so got arrested for doing some really horrible things. A lot of people apparently with yellow and blue flags on their profiles don't want to go and look into the past of this guy. I did notice that they did have long sleeve shirts, or he does have a long sleeve shirt on this for most likely good reasons we'll talk about in a minute. But I just wanted to see, like, oh, I guess we'll show it right now. So what I thought was really funny.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, this is right here. Look at that. This is the reason why, obviously they put him in a long sleeve shirt. But this is the guy that the yellow and blue flag profile picture people are celebrating right now and saying rest in peace, blah, blah, blah. Let me get out of this one, go to this actual main one. We'll see. Look, never mind. People are starting to do a little bit different. So there was people on here, man, last night. Maybe I might find it somewhere else. Here we go. Okay, here, let me show you this. So this is what you'll see when is this it? Yeah. You'll see people, with their yellow and blue flags, broken heart, rest in peace. They gave theirs today for ours tomorrow. Bakhmut holds. They're pretty much loving them.
Well, it's funny. I mean, I still have a lot of lefty friends that that has the yellow and blue flag, and I love them, but I just roll my eyes when I see it. Just kind of like,
right.
I won't put a Ukrainian flag up on my bio. Just won't do it.
Yeah. It's just crazy to see like all these people, like calling him a hero, putting up this stuff, you're seeing a lot of, yellow and blue flag people saying rest in peace, putting up a candle for him, making him out to be some kind of war hero, some kind of hero. Obviously, look, long sleeve shirt again, of course, because, you have to hide those racist tattoos he has. So there was actually
and they deny it. They deny these Nazi connections. I mean, they're like, there's no Nazis. There are no Nazis at all in Ukraine. That's totally made up.
Right. So here's the history of this guy. So he was a leader of something called a Tornado Battalion, which carried out unspeakable crimes in Donbass in 2014, and saying that he has been recently killed by Russian forces. As you can see, this guy, he's had that tattoo on his arm for a pretty decent long time. He's definitely got some additions to it. Convicted for his brutal crimes, he was released early from prison last year by Zelensky. So Zelensky released this guy from prison to put him up on the front lines, pretty much, to have him fight. So let me open this link that I was just showing right here. I don't know how well this is going to be, but so Zelensky frees convicted child bad stuff to reinforce depleted military. So this was July 30th, 2022, once condemned by Ukrainian officials and imprisoned for sadistic torture and R-word of minors. Leaders of the notorious Tornado Battalion are free under Vladimir Zelensky. This guy that was just killed is one of them that just got released. So this is from the Gray Zone. If you guys want to read more in depth about it, I'm gonna put it in the comment section so you guys can see. It's from the Gray Zone. It's pretty decently long, and I don't want to sit here and read the whole thing. But the commander of the now disbanded Tornado Battalion was freed as part of Zelensky's scheme to release prisoners with combat experience, along with an unwavering commitment to fascism. Known as a psychopath sadist who was involved in essaying children, brutally torturing prisoners, and murderers. So that's this guy that these people on Twitter right now are like, putting a candle next to his face, saying that he was a great man, all this stuff, and not listening to other people who are showing his history. They're even saying that he videotaped himself doing this stuff to this guy until he passed. In this right here, it says the court proceedings also brought forth sickening images from the phones of the tornado fighters, showing disfigured women and rotting corpses littering the military bases. The trial of the Tornado Battalion saw testimony of 111 witnesses, along with evidence scattered within the areas of at least 80 bodies attributed to the tornado violence. The judges were overwhelmed with pictures of mutilated genitalia, castration, and other forms of SA torture. So that's what this guy does, and they're just calling this man some kind of hero. Eternal memory and glory to hero. Like this is what these people are doing for this guy. And they're telling us that we're the crazy ones, that Ukrainians aren't Nazis, that there aren't Nazis fighting for Ukraine right now.
Well, they'll throw at us. They'll say, "Well, Nick Fuentes supports Russia." It's true. Nick Fuentes do support Russia, but the next time somebody says that Nick Fuentes supports Russia, the best way to respond is, "Well, Richard Spencer is in support of the Ukraine cause." So
Right.
that's so
Well, that's
they're
what pisses
divided
me off
on
when
that issue.
people. That's what pisses me off when people say that anyway. They're like, "Oh well, you know, this right-wing conservative is a Russian supporter, and you don't like the people in Ukraine, so you must be a Russian supporter." Like, yo, I am a human being. Like, I can walk and chew gum at the same time. I can not like Putin in the way he dictates Russia, and also not like the fact that we are pushing NATO up against Russia for no goddamn reason and instigating them as well. And we definitely shouldn't be claiming these Nazis as heroes. Way, way, way shouldn't have. But I mean, what do you expect? We brought, Nazi doctors and people in from Germany after World War II. So I'm pretty sure our system is just based off of it. So
I mean, whenever somebody would, like for example, if David Duke criticizes Israel, doesn't mean that people on the left criticizes Israel for the same reason David Duke criticizes Israel. I mean,
right.
David Duke criticizes Israel because he hates Jewish people. When the left criticizes Israel, it's because of the treatment against the Palestinians. It's not because it's not because it's Jewish people doing it. It's because of what individuals are doing,
Right.
The distinction. But, same thing can be applied there. And as I said, it's ridiculous, how they would just do their little straw man and everything like that. I know I don't want to be on the same side of an issue as John Bolton.
Yeah. I don't want to be on the same side as him either, but if I agree with him, then I agree with him. There's nothing I can do about it. It's crazy.
Yeah. But
trying to read some of the comments.
And I know one thing, they'll do everything they can to try to hide all the Nazism references out of Ukraine. I mean, in 2014, it was on the news. It was talked about the Nazi influence in the Ukraine, and they're doing everything they can. The mainstream media is doing everything they can to, and unfortunately have done a good job burying in it. I mean, it's there. I mean, the Stefan Bandera, people admiring that man and everything, and it just, it's really just, I mean, having to argue with people online and people I know personally over this issue is really frustrating. But anyway.
I don't cry for Nazis. Azov. Yeah, exactly, Ed. His Azov tattoos, which is, that's what always puts it into perspective for me, because when I hear the word Azov, I automatically, without a doubt, think about Ukrainians. One of my old bosses was a Ukrainian. He has an Instagram right now, and his name on there is literally Azov Nation, is his Twitter name. Like, dude, come on now. How if I could see that from my old boss and that's his Instagram name and it's something that he just chose for his Instagram name and he's Ukrainian, I'm just like, come on now.
Now I'm going to tell you, about 20 years ago, I knew a Ukrainian couple, not like really well, but where I was working, they were part of a cleaning crew, and they claimed not to know English, but I think they knew English. And I saw one of them reading a Ukrainian paper, and I saw what looked like an article written by Pat Buchanan. And I'm like, I always thought that was really odd to see an article by Pat Buchanan in a Ukrainian paper. But I knew right away if Pat Buchanan is in a Ukrainian paper, that there is a reason for it. And Pat Buchanan has a reputation. So I think that maybe I'm not saying Pat Buchanan is a neo-Nazi, but I do think that Pat Buchanan has anti-Semitic sentiment, and I think that maybe that paper had kind of that worldview, and I think that's why Pat Buchanan's article, whatever it was about, was in that paper. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what is that?
What?
The Pat Buchanan paper.
No, there was a Ukrainian paper that I saw what looked like a man reading an article that was written by Pat Buchanan, but it was obviously in Ukrainian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So who sent Ed is sent me a link to see I think it is, what did he say? Some flat out brainworm propaganda. Okay. So this is the website that he sent. Ukrainian Freedom News. Truth to the world. Supplies to Ukraine. Accelerate victory. I'm trying to see if there's something in here that you want me to see specifically, Mr. Ed. Look at that. See what it's like to be in war in the living room. War Day 398. Stories. Let's look into the stories. April 3rd, devastating shelling of the Kursk region. Yeah, it definitely looks like a propaganda website just for Ukrainians. We have this guy who comes on WGN radio every morning and feeds garbage to radio hosts. Oh, no. Yeah, exactly, Warren. Russians and Ukrainians get along fine out here. Out in Brooklyn. Yeah, they get along fine out here too. They even call themselves the same person. They like Russians, Ukrainians, Polish, Germans. Like they all work together out here, and they own bars and stuff out here. And they all just hang out, and they call themselves the same thing. Like they even call them my Ukrainian boss calls himself Russian. So it's weird. Yeah, that's their culture. And we're sitting here as white people in America trying to tell them what they should and shouldn't be. So, but yeah, this is interesting to see an entire website about Ukrainian freedom. The hidden headquarters where Ukrainian grannies command foreign volunteers. Jesus Christ. The sweetness of music in the tragedy of war. Like this is definitely, one-sided biased website. Definitely. That's crazy. Speaking of, where is it? Speaking of Russia and NATO and Ukraine and all of that. So I saw on the news today on Twitter that Finland is going to be joining NATO tomorrow, which is crazy.
Yeah, it broke my heart to hear that.
Yeah. So everybody's talking about it. RBN, Socialist MMA, this morning posted that Sanna Marin got destroyed in Finland's election last night. So the prime minister ended up conceding defeat, and she lost the election. There's obviously people are going to be all over Twitter right now, praising this. So Finland's going to become a NATO member tomorrow. I think it's going to start getting into like some of the there it is. Okay. So this is the video that I wanted to show. So they're saying this is a historic week. Tomorrow we would become Finland as the 31st member of NATO, making Finland safer and NATO stronger. So they're, obviously they're going to be talking about how Russia is losing because Finland is joining NATO tomorrow. So here we go.
This is a historic week. Tomorrow we will welcome Finland as the 31st member of NATO, making Finland safer and our alliance stronger. We will raise the Finnish flag for the first time here at the NATO headquarters. It will be a good day for Finland's security, for Nordic security, and for NATO as a whole.
So goddamn gross.
This is a historic.
Here, I've got a news article that we can read about it if it's going to let me. There we go. AP News, of course it is. So Finland doubling NATO's this is what I wanted to talk about. The fact that Finland is going to be doubling NATO's border with Russia in a blow to Putin. Here we go. You know, just keep breaking our promise of not expanding NATO, even though the USSR got disbanded and they're no longer the USSR. We continue to expand NATO even more and more. So the blue and white Finnish flag rises outside of NATO headquarters Tuesday afternoon, making Finland a member and doubling Russia's border with the world's biggest security alliance. The move is a strategic and political blow to President Putin, who has long complained about NATO's expansion towards Russia and partly used that as a justification for his country's war with Ukraine. What we see is that President Putin went to war against Ukraine with a declared aim to get less NATO. Well, of course, what do you expect him to do in a blow, right? These a-holes want World War III. Exactly. I agree.
Yeah.
Like all NATO members, Finland will benefit from the collective security guarantee that an attack on one is considered an attack on all. You know, the NATO logo mission statement. So NATO has said that it has no immediate intention to step up its presence in Finland. Lies. Some members have deployed troops there for war games over the last year. They're doing war games. How fun. Because that doesn't, instigate and poke at, Russia at all. Russia immediately warned that it would bolster forces near Finland if NATO sends any additional troops or equipment to what will be its 31st member country. Finland has substantial, well-trained armed forces with elite troops capable of operating in the sub-zero temperatures of the high north. The Nordic country has also has a large reserve army and is investing heavily in new equipment, including dozens of U.S.-made F-35 fighter jets. The Finnish flag rising between the French and Estonian in a ceremony scheduled for tomorrow will complete the fastest accession process in the organization's recent history, because we're trying to scoop up all the land next to Russia. So really quick, before I keep going on with this, I wanted to show the people on the screen or in here hanging out with us where exactly Finland is. All right, y'all. So here's pretty little Finland right here. Okay, see, it's right next to Sweden and Norway. It's a cute little country, very long, skinny. Guess where it's right next to? Oh my goodness, look at that, Russia. And look, there's Ukraine right there. Here's Russia's border, probably about right over here. And Finland is right next to it, of course. And also, which is crazy, is something we're going to be talking about a little later, is that somebody got murdered at St. Petersburg this weekend, which is, look at that, right next to Finland. Can you fucking believe that shit?
Yep. Yeah, very close by.
Yep.
And yeah.
Look, there's Moscow right there. So if you look, there's the borderline right there. So Ukraine is already a good major border of Russia right here. So if they go, they're getting into or going to be getting into NATO, there's Russia's border right there with them. There's Russia's border right here with Finland. We have seriously broken a promise, and we just keep talking about gaining people into NATO as if it's not a bully tactic that we're putting onto these other countries that don't want to be a part of it, while we keep sanctioning these other countries. I just don't understand how people don't think, like in NATO, the leaders of NATO don't think that the continuation of bullying on these other countries over generations is going to eventually make an entire country hate you to the point where they're going to fight back. You can only get, if you're not going to get murdered, then if you keep getting beat up and getting beat up and getting beat up over and over and over again, you're eventually going to fight back. Like, the being backed into a corner kind of thing only lasts so long until you get sick and tired of it. And you're like, fuck it, I'm done. I'm fighting back. And you think after generations that these countries wouldn't be doing that. Like, how can you think that they wouldn't? And you just keep adding countries into NATO thinking that Russia's not going to do anything about this.
Well, here's the thing about it. The military industrial complex in the United States are very happy about this because there's weapons to manufacture and sell and all that. I mean, and as long as you got the profit motive with these defense contractors, it's going to make it's just going to encourage, just like private prisons in the United States has that same effect. It just encourages a bad problem to persist. And having these countries join NATO keeps something that's horrible pretty much in existence. And we're talking about the defense contractors and the influence that they have in this country. And Finland, it just breaks my heart to see Finland joining. And I know Sweden joined last year. And just those are things about, I used to take pride in the fact that they were not NATO members.
Right. Same.
Yeah.
I agree. All right, let's finish reading this. Alarmed by Russia's invasion of Ukraine last year, Finnish applied to join NATO in 2022 in May. Neighboring Sweden also applied, but its accession process will take longer. A ceremony falls on NATO's very own birthday, 74th anniversary of the signing of its founding Washington Treaty in 1949. Yeah, they're obviously it's very biased in this article, so it's just going to be very biased. We will strengthen our military potential in the West and in the Northwest, according to the state RIA news agency, although Russia is already having trouble marshaling forces against far smaller Ukraine. And see, that's what they keep saying, like the news and stuff, and people, with the yellow and blue flags on Twitter are saying is that Russia's losing. They're just gonna keep losing, and they're not able to keep this war going, and Ukraine's gonna win. Like, y'all really think that y'all really think y'all gonna win? Like, do you really know who won World War II? Like, for real? Who really won World War II? All right, you think you're gonna win? Come on now.
Yeah, it was the Soviets that really made a difference in World War II more than anybody else.
Yep.
Objectively speaking. And no, I'm not saying that the other countries didn't contribute and were helpful, but it was the Soviets. They are the ones that brought about gave Hitler the biggest fight of them all.
Yep, exactly. And we honestly think that we're just gonna beat them. We know we're not gonna use nukes. That's just it. Like, obviously, they don't want to nuke us. We don't want to nuke them. So at least we know that at least that's not going to happen. So it's just going to always be this tit for tat, back and forth. Obviously people are going to die, but we're just going to keep bullying them until, they're like, all right, we're done. You're not going to nuke us. Then we're going to just start fighting back. And that's what they're doing. I mean, at least with, BRICS too. BRICS is like probably the smartest thing they've ever done right now. Take them by the balls with the economics, which I recently heard, I guess, Saudi Arabia isn't going to be selling its oil in US dollars anymore. So the petrodollar is like pretty much going to be done for soon.
Well, the only actually, it might even be a good thing for the United States because, the United States could just, they need to weed off of Saudi Arabian oil anyway, and they're not exactly exactly pro human rights and all of that themselves. So yeah,
but it's really funny is that like now that now that Saudi Arabia is starting to, go and hang out with the BRICS people and stop working with America as much, I'm starting to notice in the news that people are starting to talk more about human rights violations that are going on in Saudi Arabia. I think just this morning on the news, I saw a woman in Saudi Arabia, or no, maybe it was Iran. It might be Iran. Anyway, it's just really funny. This woman wasn't wearing her hijab and a guy threw yogurt on her and beat her up and she ended up getting arrested. But it's really funny. It's like, we'll let these countries that just demoralize women because of their religious beliefs, we'll allow these countries to do it. But like this other country that we're against, we talk about how horrible and ridiculous it is. And I'm just starting to see like the news is starting to do that with Saudi Arabia, starting to talk about women being forced to wear hijabs because of religious, laws and rules and stuff. And you've never seen that on the news before of Saudi Arabia doing that because they've been our allies. But now all of a sudden, now they're not our allies. The news is allowed to talk about the human rights violations that are going on there. It's crazy.
You know what's interesting? I believe women can drive in Saudi Arabia, but there was a protest against women driving, and the two women, even though they legalized women's right to drive, the two women that were leading the protest for the women to drive in Saudi Arabia were executed after the fact.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean,
that's how it goes. I mean, that's how it goes. They even made such a big hoopla, I think like a year ago or 2 years ago, that girls were able to go to school again. They were going to start liberating girls to go to school. I just heard today that girls can't go to school again. I think they can go up to like 3rd grade and that's it or something. They're not allowed to go any further than that. So they're back down. You know, they just do this hoopla of like Saudi Arabia is doing all this great stuff for the women of their community or for, you know, people of their community. And then it just goes away. It stops. It doesn't happen anymore. So.
Yeah, it's a human rights nightmare, and just
right.
And the fact that the United States were so tied with them for the longest time was very offensive.
Yep. Okay, so Brandy says they will be selling it in the yuan. They joined BRICS, so they did officially join BRICS. So okay, Saudi Arabia is officially a part of BRICS. We're going to see how that goes for us. I mean, America did say that they wanted all vehicles to be electric by 2035, but we'll see how that goes. I mean, that's still, you know, changing to all electric cars just takes us off of the gases in the Middle East and puts us more towards finite materials that are having to be mined in African countries. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, aren't there some of the African countries kind of involved with BRICS too?
Yep, there are quite a few countries right now that are. I just showed a video last week of a leader of one of the countries saying that because, you know, ICC wants to arrest Putin for war crimes. And this leader, Putin's supposed to be going to this African country soon. And the leader put in to a news press saying, we will protect Putin if he comes here. Like, you guys are not going to do anything. Y'all still have Bush and he's not locked up. So yeah, there are definitely some African countries, you know, especially after Libya. Like, that's what a lot of people are definitely mentioning in Africa is what we did to Libya and Gaddafi.
Yeah, well, this is what I tell people before they start arresting. Before they start arresting all these people, go after Bush, Cheney, and Hillary Clinton first. Go after them first.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. That's why I always say all the time on my show when it comes to Africa and stuff is that if there's one continent that we should not be fucking with, especially with our history, especially American history, it's Africa. Like, we should not be messing with Africa. That's the number one country we should not touch. Like, you've already done enough damage, please. The leaders of African countries. I know there was one guy that was talking about how we've killed off a couple of really amazing leaders. Like, anybody that wants to help benefit their own society in Africa was brutally murdered and a puppet put in. So, you know, that's exactly what we do. And it's crazy. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people in African countries that are like, nah, screw you, America. Like, we don't want anything to do with you. And they're joining in Russia. So yeah. We're going to see. I mean, do you honestly think in our lifetime we're going to see the downfall of America? Because yesterday on Warren's show, Warren asked Marcus Cage the same thing, and he says he thinks it's going to be within the next 5 years.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The British Empire finally fell after World War II. I mean, and Britain still exists as a nation, you know, but they got really humbled, and I am for the humbling of the United States. I don't wish bad things on the United States other than it gets humbled and it stops interfering with other countries and stop making trouble for other countries.
Yeah. We should stop making trouble for other countries. It's all we do. Like, and it's so crazy to see because I'm starting to see how BRICS is starting to do this multipolar versus unipolar world. You know, I've been so terrified of now I've learned the new term of it, unipolar, which in past terms, it was just the New World Order. That's exactly what it was. And thinking like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to keep everybody, happy in their own countries with one person leading the entire world? It just didn't seem right. It seemed very evil, very villainistic. And hearing this multipolar idea now where, we all work together, but we all have our own leaders of our own countries because we all know what our own countries want and need, and can provide for other people that other countries that can't provide. I think that would be the most beneficial kind of answer that I've been waiting to hear of how this world is going to get along. It seems like that's the best one. And this autocracy, oligarchy, empire, horrible, like just brutalizing other countries like we're doing in the name of democracy and freedom, it just doesn't work. This is a dying country just pulling for strings, just trying to stay afloat.
And if this country can be humbled and not intervene around the world, and I'm going to tell you,
have you ever tried to humble a narcissist before?
And the United States is very narcissistic, but
right.
I'm saying
you can't humble a narcissist. America's done. There's no hope.
I mean, if it can be achieved, maybe once and for all, the United States could, instead of meddling, it could actually focus on improving life for Americans for a change. Mm-hmm. I know that's a lot of wishful thinking on my part, but
it is, but that's okay. It's okay. Lula says, I think the fallout of Ukraine will be the fallout of the Western neocons. So that's where I worry, though, because we literally let Afghanistan war go on for 20 plus years. You really, honestly, because you can't just think that Russia's these good guys and are just doing, obviously they're protecting themselves from the expansion of NATO, but he's also a guy that really likes war too. Putin is definitely somebody that really enjoys war, and I'm pretty sure he's benefiting it financially off of it as well. So I honestly truly think that they could keep this thing going for the next 20 years just to make it, with this whole like, yay, blue and yellow flag for the next 20 years. Let's save Ukraine and keep this going to financially benefit off of it forever.
Yeah, there is a military-industrial complex in Russia that's benefiting from this as well, and their economy has actually the sanctions actually backfired. These Biden sanctions, and it's actually been improved the Russian economy and all of that. So I mean, I find that hilarious that the ass kicking that they were trying to impose on Russia backfired and blew up against the West's face and everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But the neocons haven't gone away. Some of them got a new name now, and they're called shit libs.
Yeah. True. Yeah. We need critical thinking says, I accept the challenge. Let the humbling begin. Oh, I love it. Warren says, we all know that the only thing that will bring real immediate change to this world is a space rock traveling 100,000 miles an hour towards Earth. Or volcano party. Just throw them all in a volcano.
This planet better get its act together.
Right. There you go. There's Ed said, or lava-based solutions. I am all for lava-based solutions. Oh, God. That's great. What was it? Let the humbling. Oh, yeah. Okay. So speaking, I'm trying to get really good at these like segues, and I'm just horrible at them. Absolutely horrible. Okay. So speaking of humbling. All right. So there's this guy named Billboard Chris this weekend, I believe, or this week at some point in time. I don't remember. Anyway, it's going viral on Twitter, and it's kind of interesting and funny. So this guy named Billboard Chris went to I think it was like a trans rights protest, and he went and did the opposite, like, counter protesting their protest. And he says that he got assaulted by a trans person. So I thought this was really, it's kind of funny. I love how a lot of things that I'm starting to see recently, especially with like because there's this conservative community versus like the trans community right now. And it's always been funny because they always used to call, the lefties, us lefties, crybabies and snowflakes, and we need safe spaces because, they even did the same thing with Antifa. They're like, Antifa is just a bunch of loser kids who sit behind their computers and they're not really violent. They don't know what the hell they're doing, and then you would see these, right-winged skinhead white power dudes going and counter protesting Antifa and beating the living crap out of these like little skinny computer kids, which it was right, but now these lefty organizations, I guess you would call it, are starting to kind of fight back now. Like, this is what I was saying about, the US bullying other countries, and now other countries are fighting back because they can't take the bullying anymore. Well, the trans community is kind of starting to do the same. You want to say you want your gun rights and we're crybabies? Well, then we'll show you what a crybaby is, because we have the Second Amendment as well. So now all of a sudden, conservatives are starting to feel like these little snowflake safe space needing little guys, because they get into one little tiff, a little fight, and all of a sudden it's, I've been assaulted, I need to sue, all this stuff. Like, well, what happened to your gun-toting badass personality you had a couple of years ago when you were calling us snowflakes? Now all of a sudden you can't handle it when you're being, somebody's actually standing up to your face that's not afraid of you. This is such a typical conservative thinking point, is I'm a tough ass until you actually aren't afraid of me.
What drives me crazy, Jimmy, is it would be the right wing when they claim that they're like so alpha, and they're like, yeah, we're not snowflakes, we're for free speech. And they say that as they do everything they can to silence the left. And then you hear Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, I don't know if you heard her saying recently, we demand a safe space. I don't know if you heard her saying that about a month and a half ago. I'm like, okay, she can say she can demand a safe space, but heavens forbid, some lefty pink hair kids saying they demand a safe space. You never hear the end of it from Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Yep. Yeah, exactly. They want to. That's why I think when they call us snowflakes and we need a safe space, obviously it was just projection, because they can't do anything. They do the same thing. I like what Ed said right here. When people, this video, pretty much he explains this video perfectly. When people conflate freedom of speech with freedom from repercussion from that speech. Like, absolutely, you have freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want, but I still have the right to tell you off that you're wrong or to beat your ass.
Actually, let me tell you a real quick story. About 10 years ago, when the CEO of Chick-fil-A made his statement about his opposition to same-sex marriage and everything, I disagree with him on one hand, but on the other hand, I don't give a damn. I mean, that is his position. I disagree with it. So when there was a boycott campaign by the LGBTQ community and their allies, I heard some right wing. I know some right wing guy. He was complaining. He's like, they can't. It shows you how tolerant these liberals are. They want to sit there and silence him and try to make a victim out of the CEO of Chick-fil-A. And I responded to him. I was like, Jim. The same thing happened a decade earlier when the Dixie Chicks hurt George W. Bush's feelings. All these right-wing neocons were calling for the boycott of the Dixie Chicks. How's that any difference? And he literally said it was okay to do that to the Dixie Chicks. I said, it's not. I said, if it's horrible to do that to the CEO of the Chick-fil-A, it's also just as horrible to do that to the Dixie Chicks. So I'm glad I'm for freedom of speech. And he said, well, you're a libtard. And he lost the argument. So he called me a libtard.
Or even more recently, what did all the conservatives do when Colin Kaepernick took a knee?
Oh, they went ballistic.
And they went and burned all their Nike gear, everything. If it had Nike on it, they were burning it. They were like, nope, never supporting Nike ever again. I think recently Carhartt, which is like supposedly the manly clothing, it's got like hunting gear and beanies and mountain man stuff. They recently went liberal too. And people were like, oh, all the conservatives were like, oh, nope, we're going to boycott Carhartt now. They do the same goddamn thing. But see, they complain about us doing it, and then they can do it themselves when it benefits them. But as an American citizen with the right to protest and a freedom of speech, we are allowed to boycott things. If I don't want to buy a certain product, I shouldn't have to feel bad for not buying this product because I don't feel like it. Like, I don't buy a lot of Nestle products because of what they do with the water and kids in Africa and stuff. So you're not going to hate on, you're going to not hate on me for that, but then hate on me for wanting to boycott Chick-fil-A because they give and donate money to churches who do gay conversion therapy. No.
Here's another thing. Nike. There is a good reason to boycott Nike, not because of Colin Kaepernick, but because of how Nike treat workers in other countries. That's right. But they don't go and boycott that because they're for the exploitation of workers. So I mean, in fact, they think that's patriotic. That's what made America great, you know. But you know, and since when is bending the knee disrespectful? I never got that. I never could figure that out.
Right. Even though it doesn't make any sense because it's all like virtue signaling or something, because we just showed a picture of that Russian or the Ukrainian dude that just died recently. And there was a picture on Twitter showing a soldier on a knee with his gun in front of him and the soldier hat on top. So when a soldier dies, you get down on a knee as a sign of respect for a soldier. So how are you going to say that getting on your knee for a sign of respect for a dead soldier is different than somebody getting down on the knee thinking that this country isn't doing what they said that they would promise they would do? So the conservatives use the knee thing all the time. They just didn't like it when Colin did it.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember, just the selective outrage and partisan selective outrage drives me nuts every time.
Right. Yeah. Yep. People can feel how they want about things. You don't have to like how they feel. Yeah. And I read your thing about assault, Ed. You're right. I can't really beat somebody's ass, but you know what I mean. I am justified. Mostly because it's more difficult to get back up. Oh, because you avoid getting on your knees these days because it's hard to get back up. Same here.
Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely. Even though I lost 40-some pounds in the past year, it's still hard to get up.
Yes, yes. Well, because humans, when you turn about 30 to 35 years old, I don't know how it is for men, but at least I know it's for women, your body stops producing what is called hyaluronic acid. Now, hyaluronic acid is kind of the same as the stuff that the girls like inject themselves with, like on their eyebrows, their cheeks, their lips, like the lip injections. It's kind of the same type of stuff, just a little bit different. And so your body naturally produces that up until you're 35. That's why you have a young look. That's why you're able to heal from a fall super easily, is because your body is producing this kind of stuff. Well, after that age, your body doesn't produce it anymore. That's why people get wrinkly and stuff, is because the hyaluronic acid is what keeps everything tight from gravity hitting it. And so once you get older, it's harder to, recover from falls or hurts, and things start sagging and, things like that. Is because your body's not producing that anymore. So collagen. Thank you, Ed. Collagen, hyaluronic acid, collagen. Yeah. So your body stops naturally producing that at the age of 30 to 35. And then that's why your body starts to deteriorate when you get older, is because of that stops producing itself. That's your body saying you're officially old and we're not going to help you out anymore.
I feel officially deteriorated in the last 5 or 6 years. So,
yeah. Oh, all that stuff, that weird stuff. I had to learn all that because I was like an MLM for a long time, and oh my God, it was the worst. It was the absolute worst. So many lies. All right, so I wanted to show this. I thought this was really interesting. I thought it was kind of funny. I'm gonna get so bagged on and hated on probably if I upload this video as a clip for saying this is funny, but it is, you know, kind of funny because the fact that he wants to sue these people for hitting him first. So we're going to watch this, and then I'll kind of, once we get into it towards the end, we're going to rewatch it because he says here, another angle of the assault on me today. Police did nothing. The investigating officer said I instigated, and she told me it was a mutual fight, which we're going to see that it was technically, it is technically mutual because he put his hands on her first, which shows that it is an investigation. I think another thing too, like we were talking about earlier, how conservatives are now claiming safe spaces. Now they're saying that, oh, you know, the officers did nothing, the police did nothing, but the police were doing nothing when that one boy shot, you know, those 3 people or those 2 or 3 people at the protest that one time. The police officers did absolutely nothing. That dude like walked up with his gun in the air saying, I just shot people. And the police are like, keep going. Do you need a water bottle? So, you know, police do it both ways. Here's this guy complaining about this side of it. You know, at least this trans person didn't, you know, go around shooting people, carrying around a gun, shooting people. So before I go start the video, here's his little side thing. He says, I need to sue the VPD. I have to. The assault on our kids because the trans person assaulted a child because apparently Billboard Chris is a child. And the police enabling anarchy and violence can't continue either, which I don't understand how allowing people's freedom of protest is enabling anarchy and violence. But okay. What a surreal day. If you can help, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So here's the video for it. You ready? You have anything to say beforehand?
Oh, no, I've seen this video before, but I do have some comments after the video is shown. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, let's watch this. Sorry for the curse words, you guys. It's going, I'm pretty sure that this video is going to get demonetized just because of this video alone. Not any different than me saying the F word all the time, but I'm pretty sure the F word is said in here at least 30 times. So, forewarning.
Representation. I mean, it's clearly was aggressive violence.
You suck. You suck. Fuck you. Fuck you. You're not wanted. Fuck you. You're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking
I don't know
idiot.
what to say.
Fuck
I guess
you.
these police officers
Fuck
are mostly
you.
indoctrinated as well.
Everyone here,
They're afraid of the mob.
Because you're a
I
fucking
think
idiot.
I think they're afraid that if they do anything to actually keep law and order, that they'll end up being on the end of this verbal abuse. So it's just cowardice from everybody all around.
People probably want to know, how do you keep your composure?
Fuck you.
What's that?
How do you keep your composure?
Fuck you. 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 Hey, get your fucking ass up there.
Get it. So that's the fight. Okay, so I wanted to show the beginning again because if you look, now this guy's claiming assault that this lady assaulted him first, but if you look right about there, you'll see before she did anything, there's his hand right there. So he pushed her first. Okay, we'll watch this a little bit again so you guys can see his hand pushing her chest first.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Did you see it right there? It was like right there. I might need to do it a little bit further back. Okay.
You. Fuck you.
Right here.
You.
Bam. So he switched hands on his camera. He switched camera hands, and that's when he uses his right hand to push her. So he's saying that she assaulted him, even though there's proof right there that he put his hands on her first to push her away. But yeah.
Well, he certainly got an ass whooping. I feel no pity for it. I feel no pity for him. I mean, the transphobe, he's got a right to his horrible views, but you know what? I mean, you know, when these people have gotten to the point where their rhetoric is, I disagree with what they believe is a lifestyle. That's how they believe it. To the point where they're saying, "Oh, these people are grooming kids," and they're accusing them of every negative thing you can imagine, and then they're doing these sort of things, and the rhetoric has gotten to eradicate them from existence. What was his name? Michael Knowles saying things like that. I mean, these people feel threatened because they're so vulnerable. I mean, there's so few of them, and and they're like the easiest victim right there. And I know quite a few trans people over the past few years, and I would have always been a supporter to begin with. But I, since I know some of these folks, I'm at a point where like they're wanting freedom like everybody else, and they want and they're not predators, and and anybody who is an individual. There are heterosexual pedophiles, there are heterosexual groomers out there, and so and so if there is a trans person doing that, that's that individual. That doesn't represent the trans community. Same thing with straight people, and most sexual molesters are straight.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Absolutely. Same with groomers as well. Like, you hear the word groomer and they automatically think it's one of the trans community, but I swear there's even movies out there that are made, and it's still happening to this day, where these rich old white dudes are marrying 16, 17-year-old beautiful blonde little girls. And you're saying that that's not grooming? You're telling me that a 35-year-old man can hook up with an 18-year-old girl and that's not grooming? So Leonardo DiCaprio can go around and do it and it's okay, but and he's a straight white man, but you think because trans people are supposedly sick in the head that they're grooming children because they're going and reading children's books to them in schools. Like, come on.
No.
It's crazy.
Yeah, now if they're doing the drag story hour nude or wearing a thong, I mean, yeah, I
Right.
would object to that, obviously.
Same. Same.
But no, it's pretty damn vanilla. I mean,
it is very.
Yeah,
And even
it's-
if there was a drag performance, like I say this all the time, even if there was a drag performance where the drag on the stage was dancing and she had, let's say, a long sleeve bathing suit on, it's like a bathing suit bottom, but it's a long sleeve top. You think that that's actually, because I'd say most of the drag queens that I've ever seen are actually just regular men that just dress up as women. You think that big old voluptuous butt that's sticking out of that bathing suit is really that man's butt? You really honestly truly think that that's his butt? You really think that those are his boobs under that bathing suit? No, that's all padding. You're literally wearing a furry costume without the fur, or any kind of like Halloween costume. You're wearing so much padding that's not that actual person's body. That they're padding with tons of layers of nylon over it to make it look like it's a real person's body and their skin color to match with them. It's not even their real body. So that's what like people don't understand. They're like, oh, they're wearing these bathing suits or these, with the thigh high boots and stuff on the stage, and you're seeing their body parts. Like, no, you're just seeing a bunch of pads with nylons.
What's really frustrating is Blair White, because Blair White is politically speaking, she's a grifter. She doesn't believe half the crap she says.
Right.
But what she does is she'll every thumbnail, she would be like, oh, look at me, I'm one of the good ones. And then she'll have some isolated incident of some really horrible person and use the most unflattering photo to make them to look the most creepiest you can imagine, and that's contributing to transphobia right there. And she could use her platform for good, like she could basically use her platform to let the world know that what the trans community is and is not, but she's actually contributing to this hysteria, and these right wingers will go after her at some point if they get their way. She's just as much in danger as somebody who's lives in the middle of Nebraska that in a very intolerant environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the conservatives don't even like her. I saw a picture of her today. She posted on Twitter of her standing next to Tulsi Gabbard, and I know Tulsi Gabbard doesn't, approve of the outside of the nuclear family home stuff. So that was really interesting to see. It's so weird. I can't imagine what is going on in Blair White's head all the time, because I could not put myself in areas where I know people hate me. I couldn't do it. Like, why would you? What kind of ego do you? Yeah, I guess true. Yeah, it just seems to me like it's ego or something. Like, you all hate me, but I know I'm badass and I'm gonna make you all like me. Or is there like this need for approval even from people that don't like you? I'm trying to figure her out.
And it actually breaks my heart that Tulsi Gabbard ended up being kind of socially reactionary. I mean, she did have a 100% rating from the Human Rights Campaign as a member of Congress, but now she's gone in this toxic direction. And as I said, I used to like her, and it just breaks my heart that she's done what she's done in the past few years. I mean, just kind of like, it's like, why did she do this?
Yep.
I hope she changes her ways too.
Yeah, same. But I don't know. We'll see. It's like that. You don't follow your hero for too long, because you end up finding out that like they're not they end up becoming the villain. Yeah. All right. We'll get on to our last one. This is I think it's like an 8-minute long video. It doesn't. Yeah, is it? Wait, what was I gonna watch? Was there something else? I swear, I'm getting all mixed up now. I'm getting all kinds of confused. Oh, no. Okay, we're good. Actually, no. Glenn Greenwald, restrict, ban. No, okay, cool. So then, yeah, we'll get on to our last one, which is... Let me bring this back up. All right. So Russian police arrested this girl yesterday. There was a guy, a pro-war military blogger guy, that got pretty much blown up yesterday, which is crazy. I think this is, what we were talking about earlier with the St. Petersburg, how it was like, you see St. Petersburg is right next to Finland, how close it was and stuff. So this is what happened yesterday in St. Petersburg. So there was a guy who is a YouTube video vlogger kind of person, but he's very pro-war, pro-Russian, went and had like this little dinner thing at this cafe. There was like, video of him in the background, really nice, very fancy. This girl comes there, brings him a gift. I guess it was a statue. And then there was a bomb inside of the statue, which blew him up. I've been trying to figure out who this girl is, and what she's a part of. It looks like, from what Fee was saying this morning, that she is part of the Ukrainian secret military or something like that. I'll look it up while we watch this video about this. So this is the CBS's version, so be prepared. It's going to be biased, obviously. So, okay.
Arrested a suspect they claim was behind a bombing that killed a prominent supporter of the war in Ukraine. Authorities say the pro-war blogger was killed in an explosion at a cafe in St. Petersburg yesterday during a discussion with other commentators. CBS News senior foreign correspondent Holly Williams is following the story.
In St. Petersburg yesterday, Vladimir Tatarsky, a well-known Russian military blogger, was presented with a statue. According to Russian state media, a bomb was hidden inside. And when it exploded, it killed Tatarsky, injuring at least 32 others. He'd been a vocal supporter of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, saying in this video last year, "We will kill everyone. We will rob everyone we need." Russia's pointed the finger at Ukraine for the killing, but a Ukrainian official called it Russian domestic terrorism. It follows the murder of another prominent supporter of the invasion, Darian Dugin, with a car bomb near Moscow last year. Russia's also under pressure from the US over American journalist Evan Gershkovich, arrested on spying charges last week. In a rare phone call with his Russian counterpart, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken urged Moscow to release the reporter from the Wall Street Journal.
Evan is an extremely professional.
Oh God, why do
clever,
they have to throw
talented
all this
reporter.
in there with
Piotr
it?
Sauer is a
So, Ian, this is sort of a fantastical story to plant an explosive device in an award. What more do we know about the explosion yesterday and the suspect that's been arrested?
Well, yeah, this does seem like something out of a spy novel. You know, this statue that allegedly had explosives packed inside of it. But what we are hearing is from a Russian state media.
Yes,
They're
Brandy.
saying that
Yes, they
Daria
were.
Trepova is responsible for it. And in some of those videos that we saw at the event, you could see what looks like Trepova up there on stage and next to him, the explosion going off. She fled the area. Authorities later arrested her. But what we do know, according to Russian state media, is that she was previously arrested last year at the beginning of the war with Ukraine, that she was protesting the war. And so she had been on their radar. Now, like we heard in Holly's report, Ukrainian authorities are saying that this is a domestic issue. Now, Russia is also blaming opposition leader, supporters of opposition leader Alexei Navalny for being behind this. Well, his supporters are saying that's nonsense, that they have nothing to do with it. But this is a bit of a blow to the Russian war effort, at least when it comes to getting out this sort of information, because Tatarsky was a very important person with Russian blogosphere. He was an influential military blogger with hundreds of thousands of followers. He was an ultra-nationalist. He was pro-war. And on several occasions, he went into Ukraine, and he did have some very extreme views, as we heard, about willing to kill anyone who got in the way or destroy anything that prevented Russia from winning this war. So there is going to be a lot of questions. Russia is investigating this as a terror attack, and they are pointing their fingers, at least for now, at Ukraine.
Of
I want
course.
to ask you about.
Well, who else would it be, right? I couldn't imagine it to be anyone else other than somebody in Ukraine doing it. So
Yeah,
obviously.
You know, I'm just saying, obviously, there's a Ukraine connection, you know, just anyway,
Yep.
I'm hearing a phone in the background. Sorry about that. Okay.
Oh, no, I don't hear a
My
phone.
phone.
You're good. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're at your house. So I did find this morning, or I just found this too, because I was watching this morning. Fiorella on RT News actually covered this as well. So I kind of want to hear the other side of it, not just the Western propaganda.
According to independent Dutch journalist Sonja van der Ende, Ukrainian security services want to show they can hit targets not only in Donbass, but also in major Russian cities.
This is the second assassination, we can say, after Daria Dugina. They were prominent Russian bloggers, journalists, political analysts. And accidentally, it's a woman again. Don't think it's accidentally. There are 2 times it's done by a woman. And in 2 major cities. First this was Moscow, and now we have St. Petersburg. So they clearly want to make a statement that, see, we can do terror attacks on Russian soil, not only in the Donbass. Most likely it's done by the SBU, the Ukrainian intelligence service, with the help of Western intelligence services. We all know, like me, I'm also on this Miro Verets list, and all the journalists who are reporting from the Donbass. And this is very terrible. So actually the war has come to a Russian soil, and not only from Ukrainian, but I think there should be a connection with Western intelligence services.
Ooh, so she thinks it's not only Ukraine, but with the help of Western intelligence services.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, yeah, I would.
According to
Right. So according to Russian investigators, Ukrainian special services were involved in the explosion that killed the popular correspondent, but many also suspect that Western intelligence. Okay, yeah, it lies behind it. That's crazy.
Yes, it is. Yes.
It almost seemed like a tit for tat, like, because we were talking about how the Ukrainian guy that they're calling a hero died over there. And so it seems like this was kind of like, yeah, okay, well, you got our guy. Now we're going to get your guy. So.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. The tit for tat.
Yeah.
Analogy. Yes.
I know. I'm still trying to learn more about what's going on with that. Obviously it just recently happened, so there's still, investigations going on. We probably won't know for, maybe a week or two or so of actually what happened, but I at least wanted to get it out there to show that, a Ukrainian just died and now all of a sudden a Russian just died right afterwards. Something that I didn't even notice till I was watching this. It looks like it was a repeat of the girl that got bombed in a car about a year ago out there. So just seems like that's what they're doing. And I always say, like, when it comes to, prominent people, journalists, things like this guy getting murdered and stuff, I always worry because I know how World War I got started with Franz Ferdinand. So it just always, worries me.
Yeah, the young lady that was killed about a year ago, that was Alexander Dugin's daughter. They were trying to get Alexander Dugin, and I believe he's on the kill list, the Ukrainian kill list.
Yeah. Well, so was this guy. So
yeah. And it's so funny because I was talking to, when I interviewed Scott Ritter about the kill list, and he says, I'm on it. I'm sorry to hear about that. He says, oh, no, don't be sorry. It's okay. I mean, he has a very cavalier attitude about being on that kill list. I would be worried to tears if I were on that kill list. I'd
well,
be like,
you interviewed Scott Ritter, so you're probably on the kill list now.
I'll have to take a look.
They literally add anyone. If somebody is like, even if somebody says like F Ukraine, they're like, okay, your name's on there now.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. Okay, I may be on the kill list then.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure you are. You interviewed Scott Ritter, you've got to be on the kill list now for sure.
Oh. Wow.
Space female of the
I feel privileged.
More deadlier. You feel privileged. That's awesome. That's right. I want to be on a kill. No, I don't want to be on a kill list. I don't. No, definitely don't. All right. So that is all I have for today. I mean, there is one more thing we could talk about, but it's literally just drama stuff. And I really don't feel like getting into drama. So if you guys want to go check out Nico House on his Twitter, apparently he found a AOC burner account. Not sure if it's real or not. There's a lot of back and forth, and the burner account is deleted now. And AOC hasn't said if it was hers or not. So it could be anything. But it definitely went viral this weekend. If you guys want to go check it out, it's kind of funny just to, get a good little laugh from all this craziness that we're having to deal with every day. So yeah.
Well, AOC is comedy relief these days.
Yes, absolutely. It's just crazy to see like all the stuff that this person retweeted and replied to people in the past that have to do. Like, it's definitely an AOC Stan account, no followers or anything. It feels like it could be a burner account, but we don't know. She hasn't admitted to it, and she probably won't. So, and it's been deleted now, and other people are starting to get a hold of this story and show other pictures that this person has retweeted that couldn't possibly be AOC retweeting certain things. So we don't know. It's all speculation. Like I said earlier today when we were talking about it before the show, like it's speculation right now. So if you guys want to go check it out, go check it out.
Last summer, I have no way to prove this, but last summer I got trolled by what I personally think, and what is actually the real deal are two different scenarios. But there was a troll account called it was called Nudge Left, Don't Push. That was the name of the account on Twitter, and I really do believe it was Nomiki Kant's account. And it was because I was commenting on that particular race in District 59 in New York, between her and Kristen Gonzalez, and in that contentious primary, and she was lecturing me. How dare did I go in and put my nose and my 2 cents into a district that I probably never ever visited, into a city and how dare she said, just assume I've never been to New York. And I'm like, and the way she wrote it sounds like something it's the way she structured her sentences, it sounded like something that it would come out of Nomiki Kant's mouth. And so, but she finally did get rid of that account, but I really do believe that was a burner account from her.
Yeah, and see, that's why a lot of people are believing that it's an AOC burner account, is because when the burner account replied to Nico House, when he replied, it was directed towards AOC. This burner account replied with in first person, like, I didn't do this, like replying to him as if it was AOC, maybe not realizing that she was using her burner account, and replied to it thinking she was using her main account. I don't know, but that's what it did with the first person thing, and then the things that a lot of this burner account or this account was saying. It does really seem a lot like what AOC would say. It's very structured in the way she talks.
Yeah. As I said, I have no way of knowing that's Nomiki Kant. So I mean, I'm not slandering her. It's just what I personally think. So
right.
I mean, they gave Jimmy Dore a hard time about that burner account that he has. I mean, I think a lot of folks got these little side accounts, these burner accounts that they use. I mean, maybe in one hand it's not really controversial. On the other hand, it's like, wow, they're
right.
really going through all this trouble to create a burner account just to prop up themselves.
Yep, they sure are. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy how they work it. All right. So I think we're going to be done because I want to get off a little bit before 3:00 today. So that way we can go head over to Warren's channel. He is interviewing Misty Winston today for the Free Julian Assange anniversary. So that's going to be awesome. And that's going to start in about 9 minutes. So I definitely want to get off here so we can head over there. You got anything going on this week?
I'll probably be streaming occasionally. Is there anything going on this week as far as any interviews? I'm trying to think. I always try to interview somebody once a week, and I'm right now, other than the KRTD media Saturday night show, are you interested in doing a Sunday show again on the next Sunday?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Then we got that on the schedule then. Okay. We got that taken care of. If there's an interview, I guess everybody be finding out in the last minute. So there's that.
Cool.
All right.
I'll get you hooked up with Scott Desnoyers this week. Maybe you want to interview him. He's part of the Red Berets. He's lost his son due to financial problems and having health care. So he's one of the Medicare for All, especially in whole Washington. They're going to be having a rally this weekend, I believe, for whole Washington. If you want to, I can hook you up with Scott Desnoyers and get you an interview with him.
How you spell his last name?
Desnoy. Desnoyers, ERS.
DES
NOY. Desnoyers, ERS.
ERS, Desnoyers. Okay, absolutely. If you can get in contact with him, tell him to contact me on Twitter, and we'll work a time this week.
Okay. Yeah, he's got a really, really, really great story. So, and their whole Washington is about to release their documentary about Medicare for All and the necessity of it. Ryan Knight, I believe, is the editor and producer and videographer and everything for the show, for the documentary. They got a lot of people in there. What's that one older lady actress that everybody loves? Susan Sarandon. She's narrating it. So they got a lot of really big people. That football player that really got into left-wing politics there about a year ago. Justin Jackson's in that as well. So it's a really good thing. I got to see the preview, or I actually got to see the whole thing. They're giving it out to people to do like a test run, like a special preview or something for certain people. So I got to watch it. It's absolutely amazing. Super, super heartbreaking to learn the stories of people who are just treated horribly in this country because of lack of healthcare or not being able to pay the copay or all of that stuff. So there's just, everybody's got their own stories, and some of these stories are just absolutely heartbreaking to hear. So definitely when that comes out, we want to go see it. I'll hook you up with the interview this week with him. And then I'll probably be talking about it more this week as well. So anything else?
I guess that's pretty much it. I'll watch the Misty Winters interview, Winston interview later on. I have to go to work fairly early tonight anyway. So
Okay, cool. You
Yeah.
got it. All right. So I will be back tomorrow, you guys, with my show as usual. I don't have I'm also myself gonna try to get Scott in. I tried to get him in last week. He's doing crazy interviews last week, so we had to reschedule. So hopefully we'll reschedule for this week as well before the event this weekend. I think that's about it. Just go head out to Warren's show right now. Head over to Extra Booyah. He is getting ready in about 5 minutes to go live with Misty Winston. And I will see you all in the comments section. I think that's it. All right.
All right.
Ready to get out of here?
Yes, so yeah.
All right. I'll check y'all later. Peace.